Kiss, kiss for love. Hey, hey, hey. I see you come, I watch you go. You never seem to leave me though. So is this love or hate? We'll see. You're making me crazy.
Hey guys, welcome to my review for the Ouran High School Host Club. It's been 2 months since my last one. I said it was going to come out in July, like the beginning of July, and now it's the beginning of August. I mean, that was like 100 subscribers ago, so there's probably a bunch of people wondering what the crap I'm doing. So yeah, sorry about the long wait for this review. A lot of crazy things have been happening in my life, but here I am finally to give you my thoughts on this crazy series. So Ouran High School Host Club is a romantic comedy drama manga that was serialized in the shoujo magazine Lala from 2002 to 2010, and it was written by Bisco Hattori. So our story follows commoner Haruhi Fujioka. Now Haruhi's family is pretty poor, however, because of his good grades he did get a scholarship into the prestigious school Ouran Academy. So one day, while looking for a quiet place to study, Haruhi stumbles across the Host Club. Now, if you don't know what a Host Club is, it's basically, you have a bunch of handsome young men, and then the young girls pay them money to basically like them. Like, that's all they do. The girls just go in and they talk with the guys and they drink coffee. That's about all a Host Club is. He's introduced to the leader of the Host Club, Tamaki, as well as the twins Hikaru and Karu, Tamaki's best friend Kyoya, and of course Mori and Honey. They immediately take interest in Haruhi as he is a middle-class citizen, a type of person they have never really come in contact with before. However, their rather flamboyant personalities startle Haruhi as he backs up into a very expensive vase and knocks it on the ground and breaks it. And yes, I do mean expensive. This vase that he just broke that belonged to the Host Club was valued at $80,000. And of course, Haruhi's family being poor has no way to pay off this debt with money. So it seems like the only way he will be able to pay off his debt is with his body. So Haruhi is pretty much forced to join the Host Club and partake in all of their shenanigans. It's a small problem though, and I mean, you probably know what this series is about. If you don't, I've been purposely misleading you. Haruhi is actually a girl. Once she joins the Host Club, all of the characters eventually figure it out, and then they're like, oh crap, we just invited a girl into an all-boys club. And because she has to work there to pay off her debt, they pretty much, everyone has to pretend that she is a guy, leading literally everyone in the entire school, except the Host Club, to believe that she is actually a guy. And yeah, that's the basic premise of this story. Shenanigans ensue. So if you couldn't already tell from this weird premise, this is mostly a comedy series, and for the first 2/3 of this series, it is extremely episodic. Almost down to the chapter, just entire chapters are their own stories pretty much. It still follows the same continuity of the school year, but at the beginning it usually follows a formula where the Host Club is doing some other activity or someone comes to the Host Club for help and they have to solve it, and it's usually resolved within the chapter, and we'll get little pieces of character development for our main characters thrown in. Unfortunately though, this formula is rather hit or miss. I'll talk more about the characters in a minute, but they are definitely the most interesting thing about this series. So the episodic chapters we get that focus on our main characters, the Host Club, are definitely the better ones, and all of the chapters that focus on other people outside of the Host Club usually aren't that interesting. They aren't necessarily bad, but a lot of them I just got really bored and it would take me forever just to read a single chapter. And like I said, this was really hit or miss. Some of the chapters I really liked, some of the minor characters they introduced I also really liked, but all of these chapters just felt almost like filler. I could have skipped half of this series and I wouldn't have even missed a thing. And it's really unfortunate because I feel like if we spent more time with our main characters, just throughout the entire series, then it would have been really good. And I mean, for the first 2/3 of this series, it never really becomes truly great, in my opinion. We either get, good chapters, decent chapters, enjoyable reads, and then just the lame chapters. As for the comedy, it's not laugh out loud funny, it's more so just charming and chuckle worthy. It never really becomes just super funny, it's just, it's there. However, the final third of this series is completely different. Honestly, it almost felt like I was reading a different series. So how I mentioned part of the series was drama. This is when the drama starts to pick up in like the last maybe 6 volumes. It pretty much ditches the episodic format and just focuses on all of our main characters and pretty much the romance that happens between them, as well as a bunch of other drama going on at the same time. Because I mean, this is a romance series, and you have, you know, Haruhi, one girl, with a group of a bunch of guys. I mean, you know some crazy things are going to be happening. But nothing really happens until the final third of this series, when a lot of things go down and it's actually really, really good. In fact, it actually loses a lot of the comedic bits because, you know, we've already grown used to all of these characters and all of their quirks and stuff. So when all the serious stuff is happening to them, we really care about them. Now, without giving anything away, the ending of this series is pretty wacky. And I think that's just because the ending was really, like, over the top and unrealistic, something I may have expected from the beginning of the series, but because we had all these volumes where just serious stuff was happening, the ending completely caught me off guard, but you know what, I was pretty cool with it. So yeah, that was what I thought of the story, although it's kind of hard to talk about it more without mentioning the characters, because oh my god. The characters, the host club. The characters in the host club are definitely the best part of this series, and they are what basically makes it not suck. All of the guys in the host club are crazy. Like, they're so energetic, they have distinct personalities. I mean, you can remember everything about them, you can even quote them sometimes. Especially Tamaki, he is a crazy character, and I really, really loved his character in this series. And I mean, Haruhi is completely different from all of these guys. Like, she is at a complete contrast with them. So it makes for some really interesting scenes and character development between all of these characters, and I really liked seeing their friendship grow throughout the series. Like I said, even though at the beginning some of the chapters were hit and miss, the ones that focused on these guys were great because I loved all of their characters. This is probably one of the best ensemble of characters I have ever read in a manga. Even if the story overall throughout the entire series isn't the most consistent, the characters are always consistent and they are always great. As for the minor characters, there are a few that stand out, particularly the ones in Tamaki's family. I don't want to talk about them at all because it's major spoilers for like the last third. And then there are some other minor characters that show up from time to time for the sake of comic relief, most notably Haruhi's cross-dressing father, and then you also have the head of the Black Magic Club, who didn't really have a big part in the series, but you know, every time he showed up it was usually pretty funny. And then there are so many characters I did not give the slightest crap about. Like, you know, I said the episodic format, like a character will come in and this might be the only time we ever see that character. Like, we're not given enough time for them to develop because most of the development is done on the main cast. Like, there's all these minor guys I just don't care about at all. If I ever got to a chapter and realized that the focus would be on some other character, I'm like, oh my god, please make it end. But overall, the characters are pretty good. I mean, the main cast is just phenomenal, but there are just some that I really drag the series down for me. I'm just like, why are you here? Please go away. And you know, I'm sure if all these minor characters had more time, they could have been good characters. This is similar to the problem I had with Assassination Classroom, where there were just too many characters that we don't get enough of, so we really don't care about them at all. Next up is the art, and oh god, as someone who had seen the anime first and then read the manga, I was completely shocked at how different and, in my opinion, inferior the art was at first. Just here is Haruhi in the first episode of the anime, and here is Haruhi in the first chapter of the manga. Like, holy shit. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest, not a huge fan of the art. At least at first. And mostly with the characters, I mean, they look really awkwardly drawn. I don't know if it's just me, but the art at the beginning of the series really turned me off. And it could also just be the anime getting my hopes up, because I thought the character designs and the art in the anime was really good. But this came as a huge surprise, and I wasn't a huge fan. However, I will admit, like a lot of manga, the art does get significantly better throughout. In my opinion, it can sometimes still look a little bit awkward, and it is never as good as the anime, but it starts to develop its own identity over time. There is a lot of charm in this art. So yeah, the art is definitely not the best at the beginning, no way in hell. However, it does gradually get better over time. It's never truly great, but I mean, at the end of the day, this is like a slice of life drama comedy series. I mean, art really isn't the most important thing here. So those were my thoughts on Ouran High School Host Club. Man, this was a crazy series. It was also really interesting because it's the first shoujo manga I have ever read. And as an introduction to the demographic, you could have done a lot worse. So based off of everything I said in this review, I've decided to give Ouran High School Host Club my final score of 3.5 Usachans out of 5. So it wasn't the greatest manga of all time, but for the most part, I did enjoy it. However, stick around because I have a few interesting things I want to say. Now, I did mention the anime. In my opinion, the anime is a lot better, at least in the parts it adapts. It adapts maybe the first half of the series, and like I said, a lot of that is episodic. In my opinion, the anime makes these a lot more interesting, mainly due to the comedic timing and how everything is animated. It works really well. The voice actors are really great in Japanese or in English. And overall, I do think that the anime is a lot more enjoyable when it comes to the parts of the manga that it adapted. In my opinion, the best way to experience the series is to watch the anime and then pick up the manga during the last third when all that crazy drama romance stuff happens. And in my opinion, I just think that would be a lot more of an enjoyable experience. The anime is licensed by Funimation, and of course all 18 volumes of the manga are licensed by Viz Media. You can pick them up in these single volumes, you can buy them digitally, or you could get the box set, which if you want to own the entire manga, the box set is the best way to go. There was also a live action TV series and a live action movie, and I know nothing about those. It seems like everything I review has something live action to go along with it. So yeah, that was my review. Thank you guys so much for being patient, and thank you so much for watching. You can leave your thoughts in the comments below. And with that, I will see you guys in my next full series review for the Trainwreck of Feels known as Orange.
I run and run about